Can you explain to the listener, just really quick, just in case they never heard of the term best in breed? Because I just learned that like this last 12 months, that phrase. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, sure. So think in any sort of product category or area, like what is the quintessential kind of best product for that? I won't name specific names in my competitive space, but there's some big names like and consumer phones as an example. Apple, absolutely best in breed for kind of phone development or iPad. For desktop-based computers, probably not Apple actually, probably someone else. But trying to find the best option in a specific area. The challenge with a lot of best in breeds is that they might be great at doing that one thing, but do they play nice with other parts and pieces? So Apple doesn't integrate very well with other third parties. They have their own ecosystem that is very tightly coupled together, which, I appreciate. But if you were trying to tie your Apple device, to Microsoft Office, which is, probably the best, productivity suite for office tools, you're not going to have a good time. So often the best in breed of a bunch of different kind of tasks or needs isn't necessarily going to create the best system for your business or for, consumers in general.
Well, yeah, unless you're like an expert and you like you spend your spare time like tinkering with a bunch, like the way that I always like saw like best in breed, just to add like an extra like dimension to it is like you think about like dog breeders and stuff, like they spend generations of dogs getting the best qualities from a lot of different breeds of dog to create, the very impractical dogs that couldn't survive in like the wild, like the Shih Tzu or the Pug or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But like the Pug was bred to be like a literal lap dog for like Chinese like emperors. They're just there to just hang out and look cute, yeah, ugly cute,
Yeah.
and like that requires expertise. And I think you know, and I'm not like gonna. Yeah, there's like ClickFunnels, which is a very successful software company, but it's an end-to-end ecosystem on how to like market your business. And it's most people that are trying to start a small business online aren't tech savvy. They don't have the time or like to become like low code engineers and learn Zapier to like link a bunch of software. They'd rather just pay like, a premium monthly price to get everything that they would need in order to market. And so like I totally agree with that.
Yeah. I think one of the things I hear a lot is, well, why don't we just educate them? Why don't we just
Yeah.
give them instruction? Why don't we do this or that? But like any good product person, you really need to empathize. You need to make sure that you actually understand that they're spending, let's say if you're running a small business, you are dealing with scheduling issues, you're dealing with logistics, you're dealing with hiring, you're dealing with firing, workers' compensation concerns. There are a whole ecosystem of things that users just expects your product or service to work and to be easy. And the consumer side has really figured that out. In the late 2000s, your Facebooks, your Microsofts, your Apples. But on the B2B software side, generally it's still lagging, and it feels almost novel in some ways to try to have good B2B software that is decently priced and also easy to use. It should be more common than it is, but often it's not.
Yeah, I feel like most B2B software, it's there to solve the problem of the executive, right? It's easier to sell like that's why the dashboards are great, but then all the IC level workflows are horrendous. Like they add more time to task. They uh they create inefficiencies. They create workaround spreadsheets that they use outside the platform to calculate things so they know what to input into the platform. And then in order to scale, you need to hire more users, basically. So you're increasing like their cost of goods sold by increasing the operational cost to use your tool. Like my favorite example of this is when they hire someone to be the admin of that software because of how like poorly designed and implemented it was, that you need to actually hire headcount to manage it.
Yeah. Honestly, that was my role on several of these construction projects because I had a We had some internal tools that were built. We were using some external tools that the client had, and our construction managers were just pulling their hair out because they couldn't tell where was this project. And I started creating tools to kind of tie those things together. Now, it was a combination of Microsoft Access, SharePoint, and whatnot, but it worked. And it tied those things together to the point where when he went to his next job, he asked our head office, "Hey, you know, can I have my kind of project tracker?" And they were like, "What? Like, what is where?" They're like, "No, this was great. It was, you know, my BS detector, if you will, between our commissioning groups and our construction groups. One was always sandbagging, and I was on the commissioning side. I was literally embarrassing myself by trying to turn over work that was supposed to be ready to go if you looked at that tracking system, but it usually wasn't." So when he went to his next project, he reached out to our head office, and they thought I was pirating software. They thought I was stealing something, and when I had reached out, they had threatened me with a claim of piracy when I told them I had built it myself, a hacky version. They said, "Oh, hey, we're working on this cloud software thing. You want to become a tester?" And honestly, that's what kind of kicked off the whole product
Yeah.
career. Just a phone call.
Yeah, and just tinkering, right? A lot of like my big like career jumps came from going outside my lane because I was curious about something and I had to fill in my gaps, make the hacky solution, but that led to like the next big thing.